Yo, what is up, fam? We're back with On My X. It's episode 39. You can see above me, we already got our special guest locked and loaded. It is Envor. Lee, thank you so much for being here, bro. Glad to have you on the show. So I'm going to go around the horn and introduce the boys that are with us. First and foremost, Wes Price, Captain Clutch.
First and foremost.
He's there's a little bit of an extra, a little bit of glow, a little happiness coming out of his. I think he's had a good weekend with the lady, possibly. Wes, how you doing, man?
So much.
We're gonna leave
so much of what you just said makes me mad. Like,
So personal life we'll keep to the side. It was a great weekend. Had some great food. Enjoyed a nice little cheesecake for dessert last night. So I'm definitely walking with a little pep in my step.
Cheesecake, huh?
Trim the beard. Yeah, trim the beard. It's okay. I tried managing it and it didn't really go well. I actually ended up like shaving my entire mustache because of it, but you can't tell because my mustache is mostly blonde. So long story short, we had to do some crisis management over the past week with the facial hair. It doesn't look as bad as it's on camera right now. I feel like it's not doing me justice, but it's not bad.
It was pretty long on the
It was
this week.
It was getting bad. Like something needed to change, and I tried.
No, I disagree. I think the length was
no. It was like curling. It was doing all sorts of things.
I don't know, bro. I think it had some character.
He was heading to LeBron levels of beardage, you know.
It was bad. It felt dirty. I don't know.
Hey, sometimes you gotta have a change up. Sometimes.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I had to do some crisis management. It's a good week. The draft's this week, the NFL draft, so I'm super excited. Everybody knows I'm a big NFL guy, so very excited. The Ravens have 2 picks in the first round, so that's why we're supporting them, rocking the hat. Hopefully we get a receiver for the love of God. And with that, it's gonna be a good week.
Awesome. And obviously I got to intro our special guest, Envor. He's obviously was on Flyers. Okay. They did really well in the last season. They've done well all throughout H5, consistently at top 6 place in team. Took Sentinels to Game 5. Was 1 kill away from top 3 there in the last season as well. But just fresh off of a hot win this weekend in the Kellogg's free-for-alls. Envor, Lee, thank you so much for joining us on the show, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me here. Thank you.
How has your weekend been?
Repeat that again?
I said, how has your weekend been?
Oh, the weekend was actually pretty fun. Came home after maxing out my hours from Amazon, played a whole bunch of PC8s. I think I only dropped 1 series and like 6, like 5 or 6.
Were they money 8s?
Yes, money 8s.
Gotta be some money on that.
Good weekend.
Right? Always money on the line. You already know. And then later on that day, Zero was supposed to be playing in the FFA Kellogg's, but he gave me the code for it.
Woo!
Shout out to that boy.
Hoey. Shout out to Hoey.
Jay Hoey with the plays.
But yeah, it's been a fine weekend for sure.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a bit, obviously, and then my other co-host, Faisal Khan Goof, my man. Tell me about your weekend, bro.
You decided to finally come around to me. No, I'm playing. It was good. I'm gonna keep it short, man. We got a special guest today, Envor, on the show, and I'm really curious to ask some questions. Never really got a chance to talk to you, Lee, but I'm excited to kind of get the conversation going. But good weekend. Ramadan's still going, so I'm trying to make sure that goes well and finish strong. And it's actually really cool to see, some athletes like Kyrie Irving, he came out on media, he's talking about fasting for Ramadan and stuff. And I know back in the day, Hakeem Olajuwon on the Rockets, used to fast in those crazy playoff runs.
Ramadan, we did it too, didn't he?
Some of the greats, and they talk about the benefits and
I heard it's an advantage.
Dude, like I just read about it, like read about fasting and like some of the benefits that people say that you can't even really quantify that it brings, and it's really cool. But that's about it, man. It was a good weekend and excited to talk Halo.
How many days are you in to Ramadan now? I know it's 40 days total. What
no,
are you guys
it's
at now?
30 days.
Okay.
I believe we're like 9 days or something like that, like 8 or 9. Okay. I don't know the exact days, but
you feeling good? You feeling pretty good?
Yeah. I mean, some days are harder than others, but like I mentioned, and I think a couple episodes ago, I'm fortunate. I work in an office job, right? So it's like I wake up, and I go. It's not that bad, but for people, I mean, like athletes, practicing, playing games, I can imagine that'd be super tough. Or if you work like a labor-intensive kind of job, that's a lot more difficult. So for me, I'm not even gonna front and act like it's, oh my God, like it's killing me. I mean, it's tough, but I mean, I could take it, So I'm more so focusing on like bettering myself through the process, not just like focusing on how hungry or thirsty I am. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Love that.
What do you think's more likely to happen first? You finish this Ramadan fasting session, or you to hang that Michael Jordan poster up in the background?
All right. So this is what's happening. All right. I'm actually gonna move my desk. So right now I have a studio apartment, right? So like it's one big room. So I wanted my desk to be against the wall so I could kind of maximize the space in here. But I've realized it's not ideal for streaming. So I'm gonna pull it back and I'm going to turn my chair towards the wall and then hang the poster and then a couple other things. So that
it'll be hanged. It'll be hung back there.
It'll be hung.
Okay.
I don't believe it.
Amazing. I mean,
it's been on the ground for at least 6 months.
I kind of like it, actually. I don't know. We'll see.
It's becoming one of those goofy things.
Knock it over.
Well, we have Lee here, and you're kind of a newer name in the scene with Halo 5 and stuff, and like Phil said, he's an up and comer, definitely on a hot streak. And for those viewers tuning in who don't know a lot about you, why don't you just give us some info about yourself, kind of how you got into the scene and what your journey to where you're at now has been like thus far.
Well, since the start of 2018, when we heard about me, Talik, CC, and Valkyrie, heard about events like starting for MLG, being sponsored under them. We've been just having to just get our reps in and stuff and just sit there and just play and just keep grinding. Now, over the course of time, having to sit there and play at those events, top 16 at Orlando, then going into regionals, making top 16 again, but then making top 12 at New Orleans, and then going top 8 at the last event for Atlanta. It has been such a joyride, for sure.
No, I love that. No, I love the trajectory, seeing it kind of shift upwards. And now, I mean, even more recently, like I said, with you guys getting top 4 and all that. How did you kind of get into the scene, get into competitive Halo, all that? Give us the backstory.
Whew, okay. So I've been playing with CC since 2015, actually. I met him back in Reach, back when it was after Halo 4 died. I'm pretty sure after that point.
All right.
We just decided to go back and start playing like Halo Reach, and there's just been like sweaty competition on there somewhat. Not saying that there was like a whole bunch of like sweaty top AMs that used to play like the game, but regardless or not, I just pretty much like stayed with him up until going through MCC up till Halo 5, and me and him kind of had a little bit of a split. Kind of went with my own thing through like schooling for the most part, but then after like a certain point, I was able to start like grinding again. So we were trying to sit there and figure out later on in late 2017 who we could possibly sit there and play with. And so I hit up one of my boys, and one of my best friends as of now is Talik, and the three of us have just been riding with it ever since. Having to sit there and play in those tournaments somewhat 2015 going into 2018, still trying to get the little bit of experience, but I didn't really get into it as heavy until after I finished my high school years. Just wanted to stay pretty much focused on that.
So how old are you right now?
I am 22.
Okay. Oof. Still fairly young. Still, I guess, in your prime gaming years, right? So I guess the question is, for H2A, did you like compete in that? Did you go to tournaments? Or like, when was your first like LAN event?
My first LAN event was in 18, Orlando. MLG Orlando. That was my first event.
Top 16?
Is that top 16? They burst onto the scene that event. I remember that event. Valkyrie, HCS, you, Super CC, and Tall. Like I remember you guys coming through and people just being like, "What is going on? They're wrecking the AM bracket." You guys were dominant.
I'm pretty sure no one really ever thought that we were going to even get like top 24. Like, we've been literally just been called like online kids for like the most part, you know. We decided like this was the year that we actually show up and actually play. Right before going up into that event, apparently Valkyrie and Ryan knew each other pretty well, so we decided to sit there and do scrims against each other. Back when I think they were on Trifecta.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Asteroid, Ryan Noob, Nemesis, all them.
Yes, and we went kind of back and forth with them, but obviously, you know, they've had the experience in the upper hand, so we definitely sat there and lost the series. But you know, they were just telling us like we're definitely going to be like one of the most underrated teams, and you know that definitely ended up being the case. Played against Gosu Crew.
Nice.
I think Gosu Crew was the favorite to come out of the M bracket.
That was Musa's squad, right?
No,
I think it was VTech. It was VTech,
that was
Triton, right?
Yep, VTech,
Okay,
Triton.
yeah.
Munoz and I don't
remember. I just remember.
Oh yeah,
because you guys knocked them out of winners, and then we knocked them out of losers, so they didn't even make it out of AM. I remember that event, and it was a thing. It was pretty funny. But yeah, I remember watching that series of you guys playing them and being like, wow, like these kids are hot. You know, you guys were that whole event. You guys just had so much momentum. It felt like.
Yeah, I had to sit there and calm down Valkyrie a little bit. There was like a certain point where we were playing against Gosu Crew, and he was just literally livid. It was insane.
Like he was angry, he was yelling. Like what was happening?
Yes, he got up on his seat, just started yelling at him. Apparently, he heard from a few people that Gosu Crew was talking trash about us. Apparently, since we've played against them in online qualifiers, and they pretty much like beaten us in every qualifier, but we weren't really worried about it since it wasn't like LAN. I mean, once we got on LAN, I mean, it was a 3-0 sweep.
There it is. So on LAN, Envor, are you like what they can call a trash talker on LAN? Do you kind of play your own game? Obviously, none of us have. Well, maybe Justin, but have like competed against you at a LAN tournament. You know, you're a little bit past when we were playing. So I'm curious to know, in tournaments, is it you? Is it Super CC? Who's the one that kind of pops off with the trash talk?
Actually, this took an interesting turn. Talik was the one that was with the trash talk. It was pretty much after Corey from Orlando, but going into later that day, it was actually Talik having to sit there and do the rest.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we were having to play against Sealay Elite's team back when it was him, Sneaky Brand. Who else was it? Two other people that I can't remember right now, but apparently Sneaky Brand was having to trash talk us, having to go into game 4 as they were trying to sit there and make a comeback. And before the end of the game, Talik out of his seat and he was just going at it with Sneaky Brand. It was honestly really hilarious.
Wes, on your BTA squads, if you had to give the number 1 to who was the best trash talker on that team, who would it be?
I mean, nobody's out trash talking me first and foremost.
Oh, say yourself. Pick somebody else.
Okay, at LAN tournaments, and I want a genuine answer. Who was like one of your, like when you were playing against them, their trash talk was like just as good as yours, if not maybe it was even better. Who is someone at LAN tournaments that you felt that way about?
Let me think.
I'm curious. I know you probably don't even want to give him credit. You probably don't even want to say it. That's probably
what it comes down to. It was all like different styles, right? It's like, what's your style of trash talk? Like, I thought Roy was good at it because, like, Roy will make you hear about it, and there's not much you can do against Roy at times, to where like that's pretty frustrating when he's just not missing and he like wants to open his mouth about it. Like, it's like, to your point, yeah, you're taking over this game. I think Elamite was good. I think Elamite was probably the other best shit talker that I would say. There were people like Pistola is one of the worst.
Really?
Pistola cannot trash talk to save his life. And he can play the game of Halo at the highest level.
He has some funny trash talk moments that are like viral.
They're so awkward that they're funny. You know,
there's some times where when Ola gets like tilted or whatnot, like you cannot guess what's coming out of that kid's mouth.
It's hilarious. I love Ola.
Fear itself used to take a lot of things personal, and he'd want to chirp back. It's all about how do you get under people's skins, and like how do you try and like see if they can rebuttal and the rebuttal isn't good, then you know you got them right. If they're just like you suck, it's like if that's what comes out their mouth, then you're good. Twilight was actually pretty funny. I remember Twilight yelling superior as he like out BR'd somebody, and I was like, that's pretty good actually. I like that. I'm gonna take that one.
Man, good times.
I'm trying to think of.
They don't trash talk like they used to, man. Honestly,
no.
I want to hear from you, Faisal.
Like who pops off? Like I'll be walking through an event, like suit and tie, ready to get up on the desk and like cast a series, and all of a sudden I'll like look over because someone's yelling. And like it'll be like this AIM kid in the middle of like a 42-42 Slayer game 5, and he'll be like, "You fucking suck."
But that's just like that's
I'll be
not
like,
even in the same.
I'm like, dude, it is 42-42 game 5. Sit your ass back down.
Yeah, but there's like levels to this, you know. Like I'm talking levels. Because if you're a pro player, it's like when professional athletes, like I always do NBA analogies, like when you see them like fighting on the court, right? You don't ever see like. If you think about it, you don't see like millionaires in general in the world anywhere like fighting or like getting that upset. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So anytime you see like the pro players or people that are like experts at their craft go at it, it's always more interesting than like some, AM kids yelling at the top of their lungs at each other.
I would always headbutt with the Roys, the Elamites, the Fear Itself, anybody that would give me the time of day. Snipe down.
That's a good crew to be in company with, though, Wes. When you're in the same, when you're in a conversation with Roy or Fear Itself for trash talk.
We're talking trash talk.
Yeah, for trash talk. I mean,
those guys. I mean, obviously, I respect the hell out of all those guys for what they did and what they've accomplished. It was just more so as like, I don't know. You could test some people's mentality and how strong their mental game was very quickly, and you could tell the people that it kind of affected and distracted to an extent. So
I mean, Faisal's whole Warriors team came up basically just yelling at everybody and screaming everybody down. You know what I mean? Like that was the calling card for them. Faisal, what about you, man? Were there any like trash talkers that you kind of had respect for because they were just so good at it? And, like,
no, not really.
Down at it? No.
I would never have respect for trash talkers, even though I was definitely a really big one because it would just. I mean, I hated it, right? If someone trash talks, it's like it makes you upset. And I mean, you could say I'm sure everyone would say like, "Oh, it makes me play better," but I think it does. Like if I hear someone, talking a lot, I'm just trying to lock in. Maybe you could make the argument that in a way makes you play worse because you're like thinking about locking in. So like you're trying to play good, so it makes you end up not playing good. But I don't think that was the case.
Envor, if I could teach you anything. The difference between my 2008 season and my 2009, 10, and 11 seasons was in 2008, you spin those matches between top 16 and top 12, which is where everyone has someone on their team that wants to chirp, and everybody's got someone that's being loud and running their mouth. And then as soon as you start getting into the top 6, top 4, top 3 matches, none of that shit happens. Like everyone understands that I need clear communication. I need like all the details or your mouth shut. Like because even though you're dead and you might have just like destroyed somebody, the other 3 guys on your team are alive and they're doing something and they need information in order to like succeed. That's why you never see like talks. Like they're stone cold killers when it comes down to it because all of them understand how important it is to give open space to everyone else, right? Like as fun as trash talk is, it's like leave that for the birds of the top 12 and top 16, like to decide between 9th and 16 and how many pro points they get at the end of the day. Like when you get to the serious money, that's when business starts.
Like Faisal said, there's levels to it, right?
Yeah.
Bro,
You know-
I what do you think, Envor?
I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with what Wes is saying. And plus, I've never really been a trash talker, anyways. If anything, I'm honestly the hype man of the team. Like sit there and like get everyone going for the most part. And Wes, to respond back to what you were saying, that's something that I actually do preach to Flyers rosters, especially to like Jay, because I know Jay like sometimes has like a pop off moment, but he needs to make sure he just keeps the call. It's like sitting there going, we need the information around the map and everything, especially when we're having to sit there and play against all those top teams. A team like Sentinels or a team like Cloud9, we don't want any bounce backs, especially if we're the ones having the advantage.
Yeah, if you're the underdog, keep the mouth shut until the series is over. Because
I don't know, bro. I am on the side of like, you gotta let them know, bro. You gotta let them know. I don't give a. I'm on the side of like, I'm like, so like, imagine you're Sentinels, right? And like you're playing against Ryan Noob's team, and he beats you game 1. Like, Ryan Noob's gonna
he's gonna let you hear about it, but that's the reason why Sentinels accomplishes what they accomplish. And
some say Ryan Noob is a Sentinel. Whenever it comes to that group of players,
what are you saying right now?
Not in Halo 5, but
what are you saying right now?
We'll see what Ryan Noob did to Lethal and his little squad in Halo 3. We can talk about we don't have to talk only about Halo 5. We're talking competition right now.
What squad are you talking about? Sentinels or Lethal?
Well, I'm just talking about the players on Sentinels, right? Like that caliber of players. I err on the side of, I think there's a little bit of, there's more to trash talking than just yelling in the middle of a game, right? You could have good comms throughout the whole game in a series at a tournament. You win game 1 and you stand up after game 1 and you talk.
Yeah,
but that's trash talk. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I think what Envor is saying is like, don't even say anything, just stay locked in. Like after you win game 1.
Well, you need to make sure you can distinguish between the two. Are you still locked in, or are you getting
exactly?
In your own
I'm
head?
saying if your kids stay locked in the game, you win game 1 against a team you shouldn't have beat. You stand up, you let them know, you sit down, you lock it in, and you start game 2. Like rather than
well, see, this is the thing, Faisal. The reason why I usually say to stay locked in is because sometimes people honestly just play a lot better when you start trash talking them for some reason. I don't know what it I don't know what it is. Like there was, and it brings me back now for having to play against top 8 against Spartan's team back when he was on Elevate. We had the momentum against them back in Louisiana, New Orleans, and I don't know what it was. I just started like I had a play where like I completely shit on Tyler, and ever since then, literally he just had like every game was a pop off game for him, and I was just like, dude, like this guy seriously like plays off of momentum. That is insane. So I try to like I seriously just like try to stay away as much as possible from like trash talking somebody, no matter like how bad the play is.
So in your head is like a strategy to not doing it almost, right? Because you don't want to wake the beast, I guess. So
I think it comes down to knowing your opponent, because I think I even mentioned on the show when Tyler was here, he's one of the few players that I know from teaming with him that when he gets pissed off and gets trash talked, that his game goes up levels like immediately. And so it's like, I think any trash talker, any amazing trash talker will tell you, you got to pick your battles. You got to know, you got to know who you can go after and who not to go after. There's a player that was on Final Boss in 2008 that everyone realized they could go after, and they did, and we saw what happened to them. We don't need to say any names, but you got to know, you got to pick your fights. Man.
Say the name.
No, stop. Continue.
Say the name. Say the name. I want to know, guy. No, you can't just fucking leave us with that.
I mean, like, what do you mean, bro? I said Final Boss in 2008. Man, when Neighbor was on that team, people
Mason Con? The Mason Con slander is happening right now.
Don't do my guy Mason.
I'm not doing him like anything. I'm just saying, like, people thought, we can yell. He's in the chat.
Don't do my guy.
I remember people talking.
Thank God. Oh my God, call him out.
I'm just saying, like, people targeted Mason because they thought
Mason
that
was a god in 08. Stop.
He absolutely was.
Stop.
I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm saying people thought that he was something to attack, so they did because they channeled their trash talk. All I'm saying is, like, be smart about your trash talk. If you feel like, hey, this is a weekend,
right?
Exactly. I'm not going after
Snipe
like.
Down was one of those guys. You talk Snipe to Snipe Down.
Exactly.
Snipe Down. I remember we were like, we had to like restart the game and reach, and because PJ put it on the wrong game type on pit, he put it on the wrong flag, and Snipe Down stands up and starts throwing a fit because we had to end it, and he's like, "Dude, we're playing for $100,000. What the fuck?" And like me and Roll 2 are sitting next to each other, like, $100,000.
The fact that it's you and Royal 2 that are chirping
So
it just makes it so much funnier.
We're just literally dying out of like how animated Eric's getting. We're like, well, I don't fucking care. Just reset it. Whatever. We'll play it. And Eric went off. Eric had like 17 headshots with Snipe on the reset, and we got roasted.
See, so you gotta know. That's all I'm saying. You just gotta know as a good trash talker where you should apply yourself and where it's like, that's probably not the best battle to be picking. So Lee, I mean, I respect your game, Lee. One of the things I love about Lee though is this guy will be like locked in. Like I'm watching a series, it's like a heated series. Game 5, the whole series, he hasn't said nothing, no pop off, nothing, locked in. They finally win the game 5, and you're expecting him to be like, all right, good job, guys, because of the fact he's been so statue. And then the series is over, he's like, let's go! He's like running around his room. He's like so like pumped, but it's like he's kept that like literally locked in the entire time. Hasn't shown an ounce of any of that until after the series is over, and then he's just all over his room. It's like, I love that, man. I love that energy.
You know something about that? I can't even tell you where that energy even comes from. It just happens. It just happens. I don't know where it comes from.
That's just wanting to win.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. And like, it just shows that so much you want to win because you're holding it together, right? Until the series is over, and as soon as you get that win, like the series is done, then you let it all out. So
yeah.
Now I'll go ahead, Justin. What were we gonna say?
No, I was gonna ask him the fun guy question before we transition into the Kellogg's FFA, obviously, because I got to do my part here on the show.
You might not be the fun guy after Mason's done with you.
But Lee, I do want to ask you what I ask everyone on the show. What's like your most memorable or funny kind of behind the scenes LAN story or LAN moment that sticks out in your head?
I feel like I would have trouble answering that question. Like if someone asked me that on the fly, I'd be like, damn.
I mean, there's been like tons of good times actually. That's kind of a good question. Man. Okay, so during the first event that I went to at Orlando, we were staying at a hotel, obviously. We got all the boys together into a room, and we all went over to like Walgreens, right? And we knew that like the convention centers, like water bottles and everything, were going to literally just like be like cost like way too much.
An arm and a
So
leg.
we bought like, I'm not joking when I tell you this. We bought like 3 stacks of like 32 packs of like water bottles and stuff. And we literally just like kept them like inside of our bags and everything, and just like carried around like the venue. So anytime like we needed to like sit there and like just get the reps in and hydrate, get the water back.
You guys had an undercover water operation going on, and it's sneaking all these water bottles in.
You probably could have sold them for a nice, pretty penny too.
Yeah, I know, but
he wanted to leave that part of the story. He wanted to leave that part out of the story.
I gotta leave that part out.
He's like, I was selling them for $10 a pop.
Yeah. You don't have to wait in line. I got them right here, ice cold.
That's a smart play though. But I mean, going to events for reals, guys, like buy your own food outside of the venue if you have the opportunity, because that stuff does cost and add up over the weekend.
I always tried to buy peanut butter and bread, throw it in my bag, and just be able to make peanut butter sandwiches on the fly. Like that was key.
Really?
That's a clutch play. That's a clutch play.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
There's levels to this shit. When you're on a long Sunday, I know Faisal, you might not know about this, but when you're on a long Sunday grind and you got just match after match and you're just winning and just getting more dubs, sometimes you don't have time to go get some food.
And that's when I had It was like a bag of like tortillas and this like jalapeno like cheese dip. It was like
Oh, that
Fritos
sounds
brand,
fire.
and I literally kept it in my bag like the whole time while we were up there. So if I got like hungry, I just start munching on chips and everything, just having to
There
sit
you
up.
go.
It's gonna
Good
say
place.
Fred or
Everyone
Rock.
has their ways to stay keep the nutrition going at these tournaments. You gotta have granola bars, you gotta have, bananas, peanut
Those
butter
bananas for
jellies,
me.
peanut butter
Bananas for
sandwiches,
me, man.
Gatorades, Red Bulls, you gotta do what you gotta do,
Dude,
man.
teaming with Roll 2 was nice because his dad would have all the goodies.
Dude.
I'm talking about like this guy would just break out an entire picnic like
after game one.
out of nowhere. I'd turn around and he'd just be handing me a banana. I'd be like,
Pass it down.
anybody want these? Anybody want these fruities? No. Just snacks after snacks.
Yeah, Envor. So I mean, we got something big to talk about. We've been on the episode for a while now, but it's been fun. I've been having a great time. But I want to talk about what's really important, and it is, of course, the Halo 5 Kellogg's free-for-all tournament and the qualifiers that have been going on. Obviously this last weekend, yourself and Vemzy were the two players that qualified into that final free-for-all tournament for a good chunk of change, a good amount of prize money. We were talking about it a bit offline, but I'm looking at your Group A right here: Renegade, Stellar, Gold Star, BR, Bound. Some people that you had to play before you even got into that finals matchup to qualify. And then obviously in that finals matchup, the likes of Trippy, Renegade, all these elite player, Boo Boo Doo Boo. I'm just naming them off the cup, but tell me, break down your mindset, right? Going into that tournament, you told me you're more of a 4v4 player. How do you lock in for that tournament? How do you knock these players? They're gunning for you. They're trying to win. Renegade, Bound, Stellar. These guys are trying to beat you, and you're the one coming out on top. How do you do that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing, and I think it was the most important thing in the tournament was composure. I had to make sure that I was keeping my composure no matter like how like it went. Honestly, because having a bad start to like a game isn't really like something that you need to be like worried about. It's about having to sit there and finish in the middle ground and executing it at the end towards the time limit. So I tried to sit there and keep my focus. Now I will say though, there were like situations like where spawning would be like an issue sometimes, because like there would be like sometimes like on Truth where you would spawn like close to P side, but someone can like clamber up to the Eli and spawn kill you easily, and it was kind of like a weird spawn. I'd never seen it before, but I just try to just keep my composure in for the most part and just stay focused.
So do you go into these free-for-alls, like specifically these ones, right? 6 players, best of the best like in the world in the same lobby. Do you go into it like you're confident you're gonna win this match, right? Or do you go into it like, all right, take it 1 kill at a time, let's play it out, pace myself? Or do you go into it with like that mentality of like, I'm gonna win this no matter what?
So in the big like going through all the groups except for the finals, I was honestly worried about placement. Placement was just the only thing that was really important to me because one, I needed energy to sit there and spare for the finals because obviously I wanted to sit there and get first. So I just worried about just having to sit there and just get placement. Once I got to finals, I'm like, all right, so everyone's in the lobby here. I need to focus up. I took in some deep breaths, breathe in, breathe out, and sat there and just stayed really focus and just honestly just try to get into many engagements as possible. After I figure out like how the ruling works, at first I didn't know how it works, and I had to like talk to an admin about it. And then once they explained it to me, that's when
What do you mean
you won?
So the thing is that in one of my groups, I was not understanding how they were having to do their decision making because there was a 3-way tie in my second group. It was me, Talik, and I think it was Gold Star. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember exactly who the third one was, but they did it by kills, and then if whoever was like tied for kills, they did it by most assists, and then by least deaths.
Okay.
So
it goes to assists then deaths?
Yeah, they changed that.
Yeah, they changed up. And
So
I was like,
you're just trying to do damage as much as possible at that point.
yes. Interesting thing, I was like talking to Brad about this, and he told me like the first like ruling, the first Kellogg's tournament, they did it like really different. It was like weird. They went by like whoever was like on top of like placement, regardless of if they tied or not. I was just like so confused. So I had to make sure I get that cleared up before I sat there and got in the finals.
So you go into the finals and you have the mindset of like, I need to get into engagements. I need to get these points on the board. What was it like locking in for, 12, 15 minutes, against some of the best players in the world? I noticed the scores on some of those games were like, in the 30s. It wasn't even like crazy high. So I would imagine there's a lot that went into each fight, a lot that went into each engagement.
Well, yes, that is true. I was a little bit nervous having to go to it in the beginning of the games, but after like a certain point, I've just had that control. Try to sit there and play as much as possible for third parties, put myself out of the bases because that's where most of the fights generally were. So if I knew I could put that to my factor and know exactly where, at least one or two people were responding at, I could easily get a third party. And then there's those situations where I've won tons of my individuals, which was the thing that got me a really good lead going into the second game. So after that point, I could have just slowed down, played safe, and make sure that one thing, Bimsy did not get second place, and let John get second. So it was a strategy. Anytime I saw John,
Renegade?
no, avoid Bimsy.
Oh, okay.
John, I think, got like a 5th placing or 4th placing in the first game. So I knew for a fact that as long as I got first over John, I can't really tie him. So I had to make sure that if there was any possible chance, I give John a free kill, but at the same time, also punishing Bimsy so I can keep that lead.
Interesting.
Over him.
I like the
That's a game
that
within a
goes into
game.
like the 2-game free-for-all rounds. That's like something new to Halo. I know a majority of your career is through Halo 5. You said but it's definitely something new to see. Like 2 games played in one round and kind of have those total up and see who the players that advance from those are. What are your thoughts on like how this is like constructed, especially playing on 2 different maps, Regret and Truth? Like, do they seamlessly kind of fall under free for all, or do you prefer one over the other? Do you have a lot more success on one or the other, or is it kind of if you're on, you're on, and it doesn't matter what map?
If you're on, you're on. But necessarily, I thought going into this, because I didn't look at the first tournament, I thought we're only going to be playing on Truth.
Okay.
Not saying that Regret was like honestly a bad map, but it just kind of like caught me off guard. It just made it to where I actually had to like go and film for a second and see where everyone was spawning and what caused like what spawns that happened.
Right.
And then that's.
Well, I mean, the fact that you even did that speaks volumes, right? Doing your homework.
Doing the homework. Yeah.
I mean, you got to do the homework. It's that 10% that like gets you later to 100. So.
Facts.
I love that. So I mean, in the second game, I watched pretty much the whole thing, man. You went up so big, and you had like a 7 or 8 kill cushion for a lot of the back half of that game. What's going through your mind as you're up top? You know what I mean? As you're ahead, how do you stay ahead? And what's kind of racing through your mind as you're on the verge of doing this?
So since I know people's character, like I know like their personalities and stuff. So obviously, if you're getting a low placement and you're having to, get second or like first, I mean, your goal is going to be wanting to sit there and keep that lead. That means you're going to sit there and do anything at that point to get that lead, which means that honestly, I just needed to do was just be patient and make sure that I take advantage of every single situation that I had. In that second game, opportunities to play on P side for bases, both bases, is honestly the golden play. Guarantee to kill every single time.
Right.
I'm noticing that for you, Envor, patience and composure. These are words that I'm starting to kind of associate with you just by your answers and the way you kind of uphold yourself. And I think, that's going to lead to a very successful, knock on wood, future in Halo for you, just because.
You better knock after you said that.
And I wanted to ask, speaking of talking about the future, going into Halo Infinite, where's your head at? I know obviously you've been streaming a lot. We're gonna, for everyone in the stream and for people watching on YouTube, listening to the podcast, make sure to check out Envore's stream. He's similar to some of these newer Halo pros and even the old Halo pros. They're trying to get the community on the right foot, on the right path going into Infinite, and it's right around the corner, guys. Keep your heads up. We're almost at the finish line. But going into Infinite Envor, what's your mindset, and also what's your team, what's your roster going into Halo Infinite?
The roster, I don't know about that yet. We're having to have like a discussion probably later on. We're just having to sit there and just do our own thing. Now, going into Infinite, I plan on putting in a lot of time. Definitely a lot of good quality effort going into the game. But as of my team situation, that is just probably gonna have to wait until later on.
It's a good decision, I think.
Yeah, yeah, you don't want to rush anything or.
I just don't really want to sit there and like rush anything as a
commit to something that might not be the best or leave your opportunities open, right?
Yes, sir. I definitely will say one thing though. Availability is probably going to be the most important thing going into the start of Infinite. Everyone's going to be sitting there grinding, and everyone's going to be trying to sit there and like learn the game. And one thing that I've definitely noticed from Sentinels, plus Lethal, not Trippy, but they all grind. They're all learning, and they're just having to put in the work and the reps. And Halo 5 has definitely shown that. So I want to sit there and do exactly what they're doing and push that even further.
Yeah, they put the blueprint out, and now it's time for you to, like you said, make it even better, right? So are you going to be, and I'm just genuinely interested, are you going to be streaming a lot, or are you going to be doing a lot of like off stream, practicing, or is your mind like, I'm going to compete full throttle, full storm ahead, or are you going to stream? Like, I know streaming is a big part of gaming and competing now too. Do those go hand in hand with you?
We'll be doing a lot of streaming for sure. Definitely want to get a lot of I'm sorry. Let a lot of newcomers, seeing the streams, especially of the top players from the previous Halo. So yes, I will be doing a lot of streaming.
Love that. Love your stream. We'll have it all linked in the description, guys, so you can check it out. I mean, Lee, I've been a huge fan for a while. You know that. I'm always tweeting, posting. I've been saying for a minute that on any given day, you could be one of the absolute best Halo 5 players out. And I think this Sunday you showed that. I mean, the level of competition that you were up against was insane. And for me, it wasn't a surprise to see you win it. But I know for a lot of folks, it's like, when you see stuff like people like Renegade, Trippy, Stellar, it's unexpected to see you up there, man. But I just want to say once again, congratulations on that win. That was huge. And I can't wait to see how everything goes in the 1v1s. How are you feeling about, transitioning to ones now?
Oh man, I feel so confident. You have no idea. I'm literally one of the most annoying 1v1 players to play against.
Okay.
I'm gonna let that tourney speak for itself.
Absolutely.
Definitely don't want to be causing any black magic on.
It's interesting. So right now it's Frosty, yourself, Saiyan, and Vimsy. So however else this gets filled out with the last four, you're going to have some stack competition in every one-on-one you play. You're going to go up against a Saiyan. You're going to go up against a Frosty, a Renegade probably, whoever it might be. So, I mean, I can't wait for those to go down. You better start practicing your one-on-ones if you haven't already, because I guarantee that they're going to be a handful, knowing how good those guys are. But like Hunter already said, you've kind of made yourself a name and have established yourself as a Halo 5 player right now. But wouldn't it be something special for you to try and take them all down in this one-on-ones to try and end Halo 5?
Yes, sir. We'll be putting in the reps for those. Actually, I was gonna do that starting later on today.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you
Just
go.
in practice.
Yeah, man. Well, Envor, we've been on the show now for about 45 minutes, and I think we got all the questions out. Justin, Wes, I'm gonna give y'all one more opportunity. I think we asked Envor a lot of questions, but I'm gonna give you one more shot if you got anything for him.
Yeah, I think to me, so far, your career, it looks like it's starting to pan out similar to what mine was, right? You spend your first year top 16, you get top 12 a couple times, you get a taste for that series. You got top 8. You've done all these top 4, like you've gotten top 4 online. You're probably top 6 right now. Like definitely a top 8 team, definitely in the top 6. You can place top 4. It's going to take a pretty special roster, I feel, for you to be able to compete with the Sentinels guys and whatnot. So getting your head wrapped around that is going to be important. What are you looking for as far as in order to get the next step done, to actually win a tournament? Because top 4, your next step is to find yourself in the finals. And if you're in the finals, come out on top. Trust me. The other side, not as fun. What are you looking for as far as teammates? Like, because that's got to be the next step is putting together the right roster for the right chemistry and the ability to compete with the Envies of the world, the Sentinels of the world, the Cloud9s of the world.
Good quality teammates. I will say that availability is one of them. And then honestly, I think just like the biggest thing to me is just just having to enjoy the game. I feel like most people miss out on that trait of just like having to sit there and just enjoy it, playing like such a good Halo at such like a high level competition. And having to speak about that, just people just having to sit there and just stay logged in, wanting to put in the reps and everything just as like the next person is. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're having to compete against people who are going to literally strive to be better, and obviously you're gonna want to be better than those guys. And then at that point, that's when the competition is yourself, having just to sit there and improve on a daily, seeing what you can do better to keep on improving.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I love that. Go ahead, Faisal.
Yeah, no, I mean, my final question for you, well, it's more of a, not a question, it's more of a giving you the floor, but Envor, I want to give you the floor, man. Give any, let the people know what you're up to, what to expect out of you, and where to catch your stream, and also just any shout outs you got.
Okay, so let me start with the shout outs. So shout outs to Callus, one of the coach for our team. He's definitely has shown me tons of perspectives on how to play, and I wish that were having to sit there and have him as a coach sooner than later. But
yeah,
he has definitely shown me just things that I could do better overall. Honestly, the whole team, he has been such a really big help.
He's a goat.
Shout out to Septify. Shout out to Talik, my best friend. We've been competing for a while, and even though we went our separate ways and we're competing against each other, we're still having a fun time. And then shout out to Manny, because I knew Manny back in the day. He was a part of a little community clan, and that I brought him into the scene, and ever since then he's just been having a terrific time.
Been killing it.
And for those who would like to sit there and watch my stream, it is Envor with a 3 for the E at the end.
We need to get to the original Envor.
I know. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get on it. It's been a little bit difficult, but I'm not trying to make any excuses at all. We're gonna get there.
Absolutely.
We're definitely gonna sit there and get the. And that's one of the biggest things for me. Just no excuse. Anything is really possible if you really put your mind to it.
You heard it here from Envor himself, the patience man, the man of composure, no excuses. And for On My X, episode 39, that's
Wow.
going to do it.
I don't
Justin,
even get to, I don't get to give any closing thoughts to him or
Justin,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Let man.
It's we don't get to say anything about the. Anyways, whatever.
Go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
No. Like I said before, I'm a huge fan, Lee. I think that we're from different generations. Obviously, you're a lot younger. You got a lot to look forward to. I think that if you would have come up around the time that I was around, we would have been great friends. And I think that you've got all the makings of someone who can be very successful in the scene if you continue to apply yourself, continue to view the game and teammates and stuff the way you do. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. We're out here rooting for you, bro, and we're looking forward to seeing how the 1v1s turn out. I do want to give a quick shout out to Sir Ebby and Blitz and those guys for winning the draft tournament, which we didn't get a chance to really touch on. That happened this weekend as well.
I mean, we could talk about the draft tournament a little bit. I know.
I told JJX I'm not sure if he wants to because everybody follows him on Twitter. We saw some.
Yeah, actually, that's
what we could close out On My X episode.
Yeah, I mean, they tried saving you here, but you dug this one yourself.
No, I just think it's important to give the winners their props. Sir,
I don't think that's what's important.
A European team. No, I mean, I wanted to give Envor his love though, and give him his props, and say you're gonna find the success, man. Continue doing what you're doing.
Definitely.
Infinite. This week, the only other event we had this weekend was the draft on Saturday.
Yeah,
it was
one,
TNT draft. It was Tylenol and Tommy Koss. I think that's what the TNT stands for. Those two dudes have done huge things in the Team Slayer scene. Tylenol's stream is like insane. The thing, like the community that he's built on the Slayer side of things, he's pulling off numbers that no one else is. And they came together and threw a MLG draft tournament together, which was really cool to see that. So kind of a merging of the Slayer community and the MLG community, which I love that, man. I mean, we always talk about Infinite. We can't wait for everyone to be back together, right? Halo 5 guys, MCC guys. And so this was kind of like that, but for our little MCC scene. Lots of teams. I think there was like 50-something teams.
Yeah,
it was like 51. It was like 51 teams or something ridiculous. The tournament ran for like 14 or 15 hours. Like it was, it could have easily been like a multiple day thing, and they weren't even running best of fives in the losers. It was like best of threes, so crazy turnout. So huge shout out to them on such a successful event. The first place team was Sir Ebby, Blitz, and two other guys I can't remember, but it was an all European team, came out and put in that work. So good for them. And then in second place it was Tylenol. So Tylenol came out, at his own tournament and had to put in that work, man. I've been saying it for a while that kid's good, but like
I know that kid's good.
You watch that dude stream and there's like, in my mind, there's no debating that he's a top 3 player in Halo 3, period. Like with Lethal and Gillick. Right now,
he was good.
Right now, no. I don't care what you guys think. I'm saying it for me personally. Like that kid on any given day is that level of talent.
Are you talking about the shooting skill, or are you talking about like in a competitive best of 5 series? You want him on your team, or are there 3 people that you could?
Ryan Noob or
Rain or Shelly or
I think when you take what he has raw. Hold on.
Let's talk about the top 3 one. Wait, so you would take him? So if you had 3 teammates to pick for a tournament coming up, he would be one of the 3. Any Halo 3 players?
I would pick Lethal. Yeah. I would pick Gilk.
Shelly. Yeah.
And
Ryan
Ryan.
Shelly.
Well, teams are built on fits, player fits. But I'm saying like when it comes to raw untamed talent, that kid is top 3. I don't care what anybody says.
No, okay.
Tylenol is ridiculous. The things that he can do because he plays on like 10 cents.
I make him feel bad, but you're not top 3 Tylenol. I'm sorry.
No, he is in my heart. Period. That kid's nasty. And we saw him like go to work, and so good for them. And it was a great tournament, great turnout, lots of viewership, lots of awesome stuff for the community.
I want to hear something juicy because I know you had a lot. You have obviously, and that's why we love you, Justin. But you have a lot to say, and you have your opinions, and people, love to hear that. So let's hear your honest what were some of your gripes with how everything went down? Because I think we saw some of that come out on Twitter.
I just don't really like draft tournaments, if I'm being honest. I think draft tournaments are fun for everyone except for the captains. I saw Ace, APG, a number of people just like it's rough, and it can be frustrating. For me, I haven't had the best luck or time. I got a stomach flu the day of, so I can't even say that My experience on Saturday was poor, and it was on me. My teammates were fine; they were great players. I also missed the draft, so my team was auto drafted. So I can't really sit here and roast stuff when I didn't get to pick anything. So I actually ended up with 3 players from the Team Slayer scene on my team. It was a guy named Scott A99, Payola, and a guy named Tryhard Nades, and they were all
Shout
three.
out.
They were all 3 great players, great shots. We were dominant at Slayers, but like I said, I didn't get to pick my team, which is fine, and I was sick. So at the end of the day, I take ownership for us underperforming. Period. I think draft tournament and I don't know, man. If I'm gonna, for me personally,
know what you're getting into.
Yeah, it's like a community thing, you know.
Exactly, and I wouldn't have done it again after the first one, but my stream and stuff really pulled it together, and they signed me up. So I was like, okay, if you guys are gonna do it, that's fine.
You're just too competitive. That's what it is.
It is absolutely, absolutely. It's just
you gotta be more like Envor, man. You gotta just take it easy, just relax, bro. Take a breath, yoga. I love Aaron Elam. Get some tips on how to.
Dude, but even Aaron was losing full with what was going on.
Aaron's
it was pretty funny.
Game is so damn weak. I don't want to hear it.
Oh my god!
Aaron's the first guy that preached his composure, and the guy lost after time.
Oh my god,
dude! I was gonna do an Aaron impression, but I'm not gonna do it.
But so it was that bothered me a little bit. The format for this one was a little strange. It was let's say you were higher seed and you were hosting 135 like you would imagine. The opposing team would pick who hosted for you. So that was a little strange. So imagine this scenario where the EU team, for example, they had 4 EU players on their team, I'm pretty sure. So no matter who the team they were playing against picked, they were playing on a European host. But then the EU team could either pick out an EU guy on the other team if there was one there, or just pick whoever was the farthest east on that team. For my team, for example, my team was half west, half east. So if we played a team that was 4 east players, we get an east host, but then they can pick an east host from our team when it's our time to host. So I didn't really like that format too much. I felt like it was man, you already have an advantage being higher seed and getting host 3 out of 5 games. Don't punish me even more by not ever letting us have some form of host advantage in a peer-to-peer system. Yeah. I don't know if you guys think that that's weird. I thought it was really weird, but go ahead, Wes. I can just see it on your face. You got something weird to say.
I got nothing, dude. It's a community. It's a community.
Exactly.
No stakes on the line. Just suck it up and lose with your team and win with your team at the end of the day. You either made plays or you didn't make plays. And it sounds to me like no plays were made.
No, I this is not even a lose with your team. This is I lost us that tournament, period. Wow. I was puking. I was I spent the rest of the day in bed sick. There was no way I was going to be able to play properly that day. So it is what it is.
We need to get you some vitamin. We need to get you some emergency vitamin C. We need to get you the vitamins, the electrolytes.
Yeah,
we need to get you on a diet plan.
An apple a day.
Yeah. So anyways, that's that. The draft tournament. But yeah, shout out to Sir Ebby and Blitz. Love those dudes. Stoked to see them win one. Shout out to Tylenol. Insane talent. Stoked to see him put on such a great tournament with Tommy. I think that's about it for the Halo stuff for this weekend.
Yeah. Justin, thank you for putting a pin in the episode. But once again, thank you so much to Envor Lee, the man, for coming on the show tonight and taking some time out of his schedule to sit down and chat with the old crew that is on my X. We like to sit here and reminisce, but Envor is a breath of fresh air. He's kind of like a light in terms of what you can be when you're looking at the Halo community. This guy put in the work. You hear about him, going through school and prioritizing what was important for him at the time, but still dedicating his time to Halo. And now, he's one of the big names in the scene. So shout out again, Envor. Thank you so much. And for episode 39, we're out.
Peace.